Hi, welcome to Grey Horse Yoga. I'm Gina. So today we're going to work on some balancing poses. Balance is so important when we are in the saddle, as we all know. And if we can work on our balance out of the saddle, it can help us balance while we are in the saddle. Most of these poses that we're going to do today, I think pretty much all of them you can do at the barn. There's one you shouldn't do with your tall boots on, or actually most of them you should do with short boots on because it's just a little easier. But we're going to do a few standing poses, balancing poses today, and then one seated pose. So we're going to start in mountain pose. So feet hip distance apart. And as you find this foundation, again, the ankles under the knees, under the points of the hips, not the outside of the hips. So we're not out here. We are lined up right where the thigh bone meets the pelvis right here in our with our alignment. So the sternum lifts, we have width across the collarbones, we lengthen up through the crown of the head, we let the hands face slightly forward so we keep this nice opening across the front of the chest. Upper body should be just like you are when you are in the saddle. All you have to do is bend the elbows, hold on to the reins. So just think of that alignment for the upper body in our mountain pose. So connect with your breath, a couple breaths in and out through the nose. Again, it's always important. The most important part of our yoga practice is a steady, even flow with the breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And then as you take your next inhale, float the arms up and overhead. Bring the palms together, interlace the fingers, press up through the palms. So the palms are pressing up. And as you look forward, you should just be able to see your upper arms in your peripheral vision, side to side. You can just barely see them. If they're way back here and you can't see them, you don't want to have them that far back because it creates tension in the upper shoulder, upper trapezius area. So find a focal point. And our balancing pose is always important to find a focal point, something to gently gaze at that's not moving. We call it a drishti. So very gently find your focal point, find your breath. And then slowly begin to lift the heels up off the ground, just balancing on your toes. So you will find that you need to be level and even here, not only side to side, but front and back to find your balance. And make sure you're breathing, inhaling and exhaling. And then very gently release the heels back down to the mat. Release the hands. Do a little roll of the shoulders. So we're going to do a couple progressing on, a couple poses on, balancing poses on one leg. So now let's start with our right leg is our standing leg. I'm mirroring you, so my left leg, but your right leg. So just lift the heel up off the mat, balancing on the toes of that foot and keeping a slight bend, not a bend, but a slight bend in the standing leg, so don't hyperextend the knee. Bring the hands to the hips, and then find your focal point, find your breath, and just gently bring that opposite leg, that left leg, up off the ground, knee bent. So you can just hold this here, really works those hip flexors, or you can give a little support by bringing the hands behind the thigh. But take a few breaths. Again, feel that standing leg working. You might feel a little wiggling going on the toes and the ankle. And then very gently release that leg back down. Find your mountain pose once again. Inhale and exhale. And now shifting the balance into the left leg, lift the right heel up. And then picking that right foot up off the ground, bending the knee. Notice if one side's easier than the other. We usually have a stronger leg, not only when we're standing, but also when we're riding. So notice if one side's a lot more difficult for you, and you might notice that that might be your weaker leg in the saddle too. Inhale and exhale. And then gently bring that right leg back down. Take a breath. Inhale and exhale. So now this time we're going to bend the knee behind us. I'm actually going to turn sideways so you can see. We'll start with the left leg again as our first leg that we're doing. So lift the left heel up off the mat. Find your balance on the right leg. This time bend the knee behind you, and you can reach down. You can take hold of the inner arch of the back foot with that shoulder turned out. You can hold onto the outside of the foot. That's fine too. If you have pants on, you could hold onto your pants leg or your ankle, but find this balance here. Think of aiming that knee down towards the ground, getting a nice opening in that shoulder. Inhaling and exhaling. And then gently release that leg back down. Take a breath. Inhale and exhale. So second side. So now turning. I'm going to turn again just so you can see. So we're going to lift that right heel up off the mat. Find your balance on your left leg. Again, don't lock the knee. And then bend the knee, reach back, take hold of that foot again, or the ankle or your pants leg. Find your focal point here. Inhale and exhale. Good. Another breath. Inhaling and exhaling, and then gently release that leg back down. Take a breath. Inhale and exhale. And then coming back to face forward. Again, take a breath. Inhale and exhale. So now we're going to come towards, if you're on a yoga mat, towards the end of the mat, but just face an area where you can step back with one leg. So we're going to inhale the arms up. Exhale, bring the palms together, the hands to the heart, and then go ahead and bring the hands right to the hips. Bring your weight into the left leg. Take a big step back with the right leg, coming to a high lunge. So we're pressing back through that right heel. Think of drawing the lowest ribs down towards the hips or engaging core muscles. Your hands can stay at your hips. Find that focal point once again. And you can float the arms overhead if you'd like, or keep the hands again at the hips. Inhale and exhale. And then bringing the hands back to the hips, we're going to step forward to that standing forward, or excuse me, to that mountain pose. Then finding your balance, bend the knees slightly, step the left leg back. Take your lunge second side, high lunge, press through the heel. Make sure that your forward leg, that heel is right underneath the knee. It's not behind the knee. Press back through that left heel. Back leg can be straight or that back knee can be a little bent. Hands can stay at the hips, or you can float the arms up. And again, notice if one side's easier than the other. That's going to give you clues to how your legs operate in the saddle. Again, which one's stronger, which one's weaker. Inhale and exhale. Bring the hands again back to the hips. We're going to step back to that mountain pose. Inhale and exhale. So we're going to do a little transition down to the mat. Again, testing our balance a little bit. So find your mountain pose. Inhale the arms up. Bring the palms together. Exhale the hands to the heart. We're going to fold all the way down. Bend the knees, folding all the way down. Let the fingertips come down to the mat. Bend your knees as much as you need to, so you can touch the mat. And then, fingertips supporting you, begin to lift the heels up off the floor as you bend the knees even more. So we're coming to a little tippy toe pose here. So we're balancing on the balls of the foot, and initially we have the fingertips to the mat. Lift and lengthen through the crown of the head, widen across the collarbones. Maybe your fingertips stay right here. Maybe you bring one hand to the heart. Maybe you bring the other hand to the heart. Inhale and exhale. Again, both fingertips can stay here, helping to balance you, fingertips to the mat. Inhale and exhale. And then very gently release the fingertips down, and then begin to walk the hands back behind you. Slowly bring your bum back down. And we're going to come actually into that pose as we come down. We're going to find our sit bones, lift and lengthen through the front of the body, and we're going to come into a boat pose. Lift the right leg and lift the left leg. So there's many modifications here that you can do for this pose. You can bring both toes to the mat. Think of widening the collarbones, lengthen through the crown of the head. You can bring your hands behind you. You can have your hands behind you with your legs lifted. Again, whatever variation works for you, but find little balance, little core strength here. Inhale and exhale. And then very gently cross the feet at the ankles, and then just come back to a seated position. So that's a few balancing poses. You can do most of those at the barn. You can roll your yoga mat out the barn and do some of those poses, but it's a really good test of strength in your legs. So noticing everybody, all of us have one leg that's stronger than the other. You're right-handed or left-handed, whether you know it or not, one of your legs is stronger than the other, just like one of your arms. We have a dominant leg. So that may affect your aids in the saddle. If you feel it's easier for you to aid your horse with one leg or the other, it might be because that leg is the stronger leg. For me, my stronger leg is more difficult for me to move subtly. So sometimes your stronger leg might be the one that's kind of holding on for dear life. So just notice. So I hope that helps you in the saddle, and I look forward to seeing you sometime soon in the saddle or on the mat. Have a great day. Bye-bye.